What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Geoff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. Did you dip, Geoff? I think you dipped, Geoff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
B-side on the beat.
What's going on with that PPP? You done a lot of talking, not a lot to see. Up in the millions like 2.3, but Geoff got it all, getting off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. Did you dip, Geoff? I think you dipped, Geoff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay, he's getting money. Even better, tax-free, loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
Yo, 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 what's up, everybody in the sports card world? That is right. It is another Thursday night right here. Kick back, kick your feet up. It's been a long week already, and we're going to crank out the jams talking about sports card. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, we are man down. The Bengals are playing tonight, and our co-host has been, for some reason, a Bengals fan most of his life. Actually, probably after Joe Montana got traded from the 49ers. That's how long he's been a Bengal fan. And I'm sure he's sitting there biting his nails, sweating over this game. I think I just got a glimpse of the score. It was either 7-0 or 10-0 Ravens. So Joe Burrow is going to need to do some Joe Cool magic. But that's not going to delay us talking about the sports card world. Guys, we could probably talk about 10, 15 different topics. I've tried to narrow it down. Hopefully you guys are all doing good out there. We're going to be talking about one of the most notorious scammers of all time. He contacted Sports Card Radio this week. We'll get into that. A couple companies sold. We'll briefly touch on that. A group breaker we talked about last week. They also contacted Sports Card Radio. God, my phone's been blowing up over here, guys. Emails and texts. Unfortunately, most of them are grown men contacting me, and hey, at least it gives us something to talk about on the program. We will talk about everybody's favorite person in the hobby. No, not card collector two, the Geoff Wilson. He posted a video the other day talking about how he spent $415,000 on sports cards, and it got me thinking, what are this man's bills going to be every month with this sports card shop that he's opening? I looked into it a little bit. I did some very remedial math, and we will post some numbers. We can also check in on the market movers. SCI 500. We're ticking back up. We did hit an all-time low. You remember on the last show at 604,000. It has ticked up slightly, maybe because of some of my bids on some of these items tonight. No, I haven't bid on this Kurt Cobain Nirvana 8x10 signature. It doesn't end for another 2 days, so I still got some time to look around here for some money for that. Everybody in the audience, ASU, baby. How about Pat Tillman autograph jersey, Sun Devils? This ends tonight, $4,800. Why don't we start it off with a little story about Evan Longoria? Here's a lot that I'm actually high bid on. At 59 cards, 11 autographs. I don't know, $500. What is that? Less than $10 a card right now. Feel pretty good. Evan Longoria was one of the top prospects in all of baseball, dating back to about probably when these cards were made in 2006 and 2007. This was the guy everybody wanted. And his Superfractor from one of these sets, probably this one, 2006 Bowman DP and draft picks and prospects, to my knowledge, has never been found. And before the hobby boom, and when Evan Longoria was kind of the SHIT that everybody was trying to find and collect, there was kind of like a myth going around, like, who has the Evan Longoria Superfractor? Where's the Evan Longoria Superfractor? Back then, there would have been a bounty on this card. Maybe there was. Well, all these years later, this card has not been found. And it turns out, maybe some of you know this, maybe some of you don't, Evan Longoria is a pretty big sports card collector. He's been spotted at card shows that I've been set up as a dealer. He's posted, I think, a lot of the cards that he's opens either with his son and his kids on Instagram. And I bet if you went to his Instagram, you wouldn't have to go too far to probably see some Evan Longoria flexing some of the cards that he purchases and that he buys. Buys a lot of young players. And my guess is in and around the baseball clubhouse, it's probably something that he talks about and probably something that aids in his collection, getting autographs from other players. Well, it kind of occurred to me, since Evan Longoria is such a big sports card collector, maybe he has his Superfractor. I kind of thought, well, the only person that maybe would have seen it besides the Topps employee was actually Evan Longoria himself when he went to sign these cards. And it kind of got me thinking, well, maybe he kept it. And if there's anybody who deserved his own Superfractor, it's probably Evan Longoria. So what did I do? I'm a former Giants fan. There's probably a lot of questions I could ask Evan Longoria if I had the opportunity. I had the opportunity to ask him a question, and I asked him, Evan, do you have your Bowman Superfractor? And his reply to me was no. So it is still, all these years later, 17 years later, a hobby mystery. Where is the Evan Longoria Bowman Superfractor? So now you guys know. This card could be way underpriced. It's $8,800. It was at $1,000 earlier. I had that up because I was like, wow. Kimmy K. It's worth at least $500. I bought this last week. Signed Andy Warhol poster that hung in Wolfgang Puck's first restaurant, Spago.
That's tight.
Andy Warhol is a famous artist, and purchasing this actually led me to a conversation with somebody that led me to realizing that my uncle, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, has a very valuable piece of art that's more valuable than anything we'll be talking about today. So needless to say, it's been a fun week of digging around the house and finding some things in my neck of the woods. Kobe Bryant signed jersey. I thought this was cool because it says to Ed Kobe. You could hang this on your wall and said, hey, Kobe gave this to Eddie Vedder, and then I bought it at auction, and some girl would probably be impressed. Victor Wembanyama, $5,600 for this guy's autograph. So that's up from a few months ago. So people are believing in the hype. but everybody's is hopefully fired up this evening. I see a whole bunch of familiar names in the chat. Hobby News Daily, Rick Galves, Long Fly Ball, William Dunlap, Phoenix Rising, Brendan Ryan, Bob Boozle. If Bob Boozle wasn't in the chat, I'd be concerned. I'd be texting his wife and be like, "Where's he at?" Carl R says Bobo time. Exactly. I saw AIH Sports in the chat. So hopefully you guys are having a good Thursday night. Heath says free bikini wax. So there you go. We got a lot of things going on in the chat. So Bob Boozle says, thanks for your concern, SCR. Hey, that's what I'm here for. We're here for each other every Thursday night. We make sure we show up, and we got a lot to talk about in the sports card world. But let me first start. Well, we could first start with Felicia, and I've been on vacation for a week. One place most people don't go on vacation is Stockton, California, and according to the internet, it's the number 13th most dangerous place to live in the United States. So there you go. Sometimes if you wonder why I'm talking SHIT on here, you got to remember where I'm from. Saw that in Arizona, so I did not partake in any illegal activities in the bathroom, and that's the honest truth. But what I did want to start with was kind of a face and a name. A lot of people probably have no idea who this guy is. But back before the sports card boom, this guy's one of the all-time biggest scammers in the sports card world. He trimmed a $73,000 Derek Jeter 1993 SP rookie that sold on, of course, PWCC. He's trimmed countless LeBron autographs. He not only does that, but it used to be a thing. It's not a thing anymore. But people would fake patches, put like fake patches on cards to like literally raise the value like $100. People don't do it anymore, but this guy's like notorious for doing this. Card trimming, fake autographs, all kinds of stuff. I mean, here's a blog from literally 2010. Sports Card Uncensored, who covers the wrestling card world a lot these days. He wrote about this guy way back in 2010. Fake autographs, fake slabs, fake patches. Changed his eBay name fucking a half dozen times. He's the douchiest man in the hobby world. That's what he called him in 2010. This guy has like ruined countless high-end sports cards and then went and sold them on, of course, PWCC, our girl Betsy's site. There are countless. These are all links to forums and other blogs and other people talking about a scammer. GIA made a deal with the devil. New scam. Meet Kevin Burge, a.k.a. Shoeless Joe at the National. Whatever happened to Kevin Burge? Well, not only is he pretty notorious in the sports card world, but this cat's been arrested 35 times, guys. Assault with a deadly weapon, driving while impaired, urinating in public, assault by strangulation, child abuse. I mean, but while Sports Card Radio has been banned from the Beckett Industry Summit, guys like Kevin Burge, as you can see, are welcomed with open arms because that's the hobby world we live in. Here he is posing for a picture at the once dead National Sports Collectors Convention. I think somebody on the blowout forum said this looks like the broke version of the Hangover, guys. Kevin Burge is all the way over here on the left of that pictures. We got a couple other scammers in that group too. Anyways, the reason why I bring this up, not only to bring your attention that there are these very valuable cards that have been freaking molested by this guy, Kevin Burge, but this guy had the nerve to probably have either this is a burner account or he had somebody contact me this week. It says, hello, I am reaching out in order to ask you if you could please remove the articles with the link to that Kevin Burge article. My friend has young kids. who are going through a difficult time because of this article, and it is really affecting their lives. Would you please consider removing this? I respect your job and blah, 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 blah. Are these the same kids that he got arrested in 2019 for child abuse? That's probably the first question I would ask. But look, we don't take things down over here on Sports Card Radio. And it's almost somewhat offensive to be asked to take something down, actually, especially when nothing in here is not accurate. So I just wanted to make you aware of who this person is. And for all the people out there, I think the last thing you would want to do, it's one thing to end up in a Sports Card Radio video. You do not want to end up in a Sports Card Radio article, because as you can see, it can come back to haunt you for quite a long time. So I thought I'd start the show with that, but on a brighter note, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you could see my screen name today, but it's I put my screen name as BG's son. That would be Mr. Brian Gray. Because it's become, thank you, Tim. It's become evident why Mr. BG abruptly left the head role at Leaf Trading Cards, his beloved. I mean, God, people thought you were going to have to carry him out of there on a stretcher to leave that company. And then suddenly, was it a couple months ago? He just leaves the company. Well, we find out why. A company called Orange Mountain Capital acquires Leaf Trading Cards. And apparently some people who are a whole lot better at sports card investigating than I am found out that this company's like literally 3 months old. So it looks like some people, or assumably multiple people, probably got together, put some money together, and acquired Leaf Trading Cards. And part of that was, it looked like, BG was going to have to either leave, or that was the part of the agreement. You'll remember that former Topps employee, former GTS employee, former Beckett employee, Kevin O'Neill, was anointed as CEO. And they even talk about that in this statement. But I thought it was interesting as well. Leaf Trading Cards wasn't the only company that sold this week. HGA, Hybrid Grading Approach. Remember them? Who? Apparently this company also sold. You remember a couple of weeks ago, we showed an email saying that their CEO had been fired or wasn't there anymore, and we weren't really sure what was that was all about. Well, now we know. HGA was sold. And just keep in mind, guys, that, I guess if you sell a company for $1, you can say that it was sold. So I would say there's very little value there. I mean, now that I have a moment, if Orange Mountain Capital or anybody else wants to throw around some money, sportscardshow@gmail.com. Whatever you guys are paying for these companies, I bet, we could work out a deal over here at Sports Card Radio. We'll get into the money Jeff Wilson's spending here in a minute. Good Lord, guys. Good Lord. Oh boy, spending a lot of money. But we got one more topic actually to get into from last week. Or remember when we talked about group breakers? Well, we heard from one of them. The people over at Going Twice. Not only heard from one of them, 7-3 in the football game. Guys, we heard from a founding partner. So let me get buttoned up. Since we heard from a founding partner, I better keep this very professional. I won't read this whole thing, but the gist of it is that he watched our last week videos where we talked about how they were running these repacked, I don't know what the fuck you want to call these things. Yeah, repacked products where people would buy a spot, call out a number, and then they pull out a bubble mailer and a $5 card a lot of times would pop out. I mentioned how the bubble mailers were off camera. And I'll get into what I exactly meant by that. But this guy wanted to point out, says he understands how it can be confusing, and I'll point out why it is confusing in a minute. But he wanted to point out that all the bags are on screen, and you can see them, yes, underneath this guy here. And I wasn't stupid. I wasn't blind. I did see all that those bags were there. He says nothing shady was going on. He says, as to the accusation of purchasing our own bags, this is something that could easily happen, right? You could have your boy sitting down in a basement, buying a bag that has one of these key cards that you can't probably really see behind him. Tom Brady rookie card, Ovechkin young gun, Tatis autograph. Looks like maybe a Giannis over here. What you could do is have your boy win a spot on Whatnot for $70 and pick the corresponding bag that has those cards so that you don't have to give those cards away to a customer, so that you could save those costs. So that in a sense, all you have to sell are these ones with barely anything in it. Be a heck of a scheme. It'd be a good way to actually make money if you could pull it off. Although shady. He says, as to that accusation, he says he's welcoming Sports Card Radio to fly out to our facility at their cost and see how we run our shows. We have a detailed list of every customer who's won every slab, and on and on and on. I mean, here's the thing. These are 16-hour streams. So it's one thing to fly me out. It's another thing to sit in a room for 16 hours. So I'd have to respectfully decline that. But he says he wanted to clarify that all the bags are indeed on camera, even in your screenshots. And while, yes, I do see that all the bags are on camera, but this is what I mean. And this is a little nuanced. And this is how these things are rigged. I win a spot, right? Let's say this Tom Brady rookie is in bag number 22. Okay. You know it. All your boys know it. Everybody knows that Tom Brady is in bag number 22. I don't know it. I happen to be sitting here on Whatnot. I win the auction. You say, what bag do you want? I say, hey, dude, give me number 22. And you know what you could do? Because I'm not your boy, or the game wasn't rigged. You could have two bag number 22s in that box. How do I know that you don't? Because I can't see them. So instead of picking the bag that has the Tom Brady, you pick out the bag that doesn't. And I get, say, for instance, a Kobe Bryant. So if you can't see everything, and I'll give you an example where you can see everything. This is Justin Gamble, excuse me. You remember we talked about his repack scam, and Dan the Cardman has done 2 or 3 very good videos about this, detailing how, boy, these boxes, certainly you paid $385 for a box, and a $100 card popped out. Every one that he sold. But the one thing about Justin Gamble is I could see all the boxes. So if I won a box from Justin Gamble, I at least could say, I want that box, third from the bottom, and I could see him picking it out, Mr. Founder. If I won a spot in your break, Mr. Founder, and I said number 22, I have no way of knowing if number 22 was the only one in there of that number. That's what I meant when I said you couldn't see the packs on camera. And I get, if you have a customer base that trusts you and trusts that all this, barely on screen is run legit, fine. That's fine. You do your thing. I'm talking about from my angle, somebody who lived in Las Vegas and is looking at every single angle that I could get scammed and or have an edge. You very easily could have 2 bags in there so that the cards over here on the table that were worth a lot of money never went to a real customer. So if you'd like, Mr. Travis, if you'd like to follow up to that response for me, you are most certainly welcome to do so. So I don't know if that made any sense, but look, times are tough. You guys are probably looking for new customers, and I'm looking at this being like, Now, this could be so easily rigged. At least with our boy Justin Scamble, I could see all the boxes. There wasn't a way for him to, quote unquote, rig what you got. If you guessed third from the bottom, you were going to get third from the bottom. The box was still going to suck, but at least there was no way for him to rig it so that you didn't get it. Speaking of rigged boxes, saw this on Reddit yesterday. It says Backyard literally has a case that says logo, and sure enough, they pull a logo man from it. So I hope that, if Backyard has a case that says logo on it, I would be pressing the buy it now. I would be pressing the get in. How do I get into that break? So at this point, hey, if they're going to rig it, then I'd like for some fans of Sports Card Radio to get into those breaks and win some cards, baby. So if it says logo man on it, if it says Webanyama 1-1 on it, in that case, it might be worth, taking a chance. You could certainly do a lot worse with your money. You could have bought a $560 box from Scamble, and whatever is going over here on going twice could be doing a lot worse. Before we talk about Geoff, Pat Tillman, baby. Lots of nice statues and tributes to Pat Tillman when you're walking around ASU. So one of the cool things about ASU, I got outbid on these Evan Longoria cards. What do you guys think? 59 cards. I think they're all graded. A lot of them are 10s. I think I get $9 each. That'd be $4.50. Fuck it. Maybe Evan Longoria is watching and he could sign a couple for me. This Mickey Mantle I really want. So stop bidding on it. Please. Kim K.
I'll take that, Kim K.
I mean, yeah, how many times is she signing her name? She's not signing her name a lot. PSA 10 ended for $730. PSA 910 ended up for $1,000 in June. Raw in December. Raw Kim Kardashian in December, $770. And you could see these cards have always been somewhat expensive. Although they took a huge pop around the COVID boom. But unless you're a 6'8" basketball player, it's hard to get in front of this girl. So it's probably worth at least $550, especially long term. This is not the greatest signature, but the fact that it hung in Wolfgang Puck's first restaurant, you know how much mileage this thing hanging up in my house I'm going to get from that? Woo! I'm excited about this. And this Kobe jersey, the jersey alone, the champion kind of retro jersey, that alone is probably worth some bucks. I don't like where it's at now, $1,600, a little too much for me, hard to display. But I think you could trick some ladies into believing that Kobe signed that for Eddie Vedder and somehow you ended up with it. And, you're the only one who know that was a lie. Mr. Wembanyama. I'll stand by what I say. I think he's more likely to win an NBA championship than any of the darlings in the last, 5 years? Luka, Trey, Ja, Zion, Paulo Banchero, fucking whoever, Chet Holmgren, everybody. It's going to take him quite a long time. But if he stays healthy and the Spurs, I could be the GM of that team and probably win a title with him. Oh, man. Is it time to talk about Geoff? We have 400 in the chat. Is it time to talk about Geoff, guys? Are you guys ready for this? Because he did a video And I probably wouldn't even. I want to start by saying I think it's actually a very smart idea that he started a card shop. What I don't understand is why did he start a 14,000 square foot card shop? It's literally 14 times bigger than, in my opinion, it should be. This guy's either nuts. I think he's just nuts. I don't see how this is going to be a smart idea, and I'll walk through some of the math in a minute. He did a video how he said him and his founders and partners spent $415,000 to stock this new card store, which I get. If you have 14,000 square feet, that is insane, guys.
Just in furnishing it is insane cost.
If Geoff Wilson came on here and said, I'm starting 1,000 square foot card store, 1,500, 2,000, I'd be like, yep, that's what he should have done. That's what he should have done with the PPP money instead of blowing money on cards. Like, he could absolutely make that work and be profitable and be open for years and be a destination and easy money for him because he has an outlet where he can promote it. He could sell cards off his YouTube, like easy. Anything under freaking 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, I'd be like, yep. I don't care what, I almost don't care, what location it's in. He could make that work. 14,000 square feet, I think literally is the biggest card shop ever built. And it got me thinking, and I love how 2 minutes in, he's talking about how, we're going to be a great example if people want to do this. Well, I think you're going to be a good example of something. I did look up. I think this is I could be totally wrong. I think this is probably the exact shopping center that he's in. There's a good shot of it right there. I think that's it. I don't know if we have an exact address of Cards HQ right now, but I believe this is the shopping center. And you could see, you can call this guy, and they have something available for 12,000 square feet on the second floor. No price though. But what I was trying to figure out is he's renting a 14,000 square foot spot. How much is that going to cost? And so here's a kind of a neighboring business, probably maybe just a few blocks away. 3101 Cobb Parkway. This one's on 2950 Cobb Parkway Southeast. So very, very close, probably within walking distance if there's sidewalks and a way to do it. 6,600 square feet. That is huge. Look, it's a freaking, used to be a barbecue restaurant. So it's huge. It's got parking. It's got, this is a big bit. Look, oh my God, huge, right? Massive. Jeff's is twice the size of this, I believe. And so I was looking for a price. And it's $26,000 a month. And the way I like to use is square footage a month, but I get that a lot of people don't. It's $4 a square foot a month, or $26,000 a month in just rent. If you wanted to set up a business, couple blocks down from where I believe Geoff will be. I think on our original show when we talked about Geoff and his shop, I said it was in downtown Atlanta. That was incorrect. It's in a suburb of the Atlanta Braves stadium is actually in a suburb of Atlanta. More right in this part, Cumberland, right in this part right here. Atlanta's way down here. Marietta is a kind of a well-known suburb of. Clearly, I don't know Georgia that well. I've only been there a few different times. I met Hank Aaron in Atlanta at a Tops. What is that? The Tops Transcendent party. I was living in Vegas, flew all the way to Atlanta, met Hank Aaron. Pretty freaking cool, obviously. Well, but the Brave Stadium and Geoff's shop, could be totally wrong, I believe is right in here.
The amount of security you'll need for 14,000 square feet as well.
Well, yeah, I'll get into the numbers in a minute. I really wanted to find out, well, what's his rent? And now, hey, he could have got a hell of a deal. They're obviously over here renting some other spots over here. I believe this is the location. I could be totally wrong. Geoff could clear that up. And maybe he gets a better deal than $4 a square foot. So I priced that in. Cards HQ hypothetical expenses. And we got our boy Geoff over here. We got our other boy Ty Wilson over here. I heard they did a video together the other day. So we grabbed a picture of them. At 14,000 square feet at $3 a square foot, that's $42,000 a month in rent. There might be places, there might be prime real estate in California that you could rent for 40. I know you could rent some really nice places for $42,000 a month if you had it and you wanted to do it. I think that's, unless he got some kind of sweetheart deal that I don't know about, this could be under actually what he's paying. Could be closer to 50,000 and or more. But I priced it in at $3 a square foot, even though just down the road there was a place for $4 a square foot. So I try to be a little conservative here. Where I think I was really conservative was on the payroll. You have 14,000 square feet, guys. Guys, that's the equivalent to like 15 card shops in one. And he's going to have break rooms, and he's going to have hypothetically 24-hour selling. 24 hours, there's going to be somebody in the shop. So I know for a fact I undercooked on the payroll. 10 full-time employees at $20 an hour, that may be way undercooked. 5 part-time employees at 20 hours a week. At 20 hours, that's 40,000 in payroll, if my remedial math is right. 40,000 a month. Payroll tax on top of that, I think employers have to pay. It's been a while since I've had an employee, but I think it's like 7 or 8%. You split that with your employee. So another at least 2,800. There are countless other monthly expenses. People who are currently running big businesses are probably running them through in their health. They're probably card shop owner. We haven't even gotten to the inventory yet. Okay, I'm not even going to go there, but I'm just talking about the expenses to keep this thing going. Insurance, electricity, security, internet, TV, is point of sale system is going to have kind of some kind of monthly cost associated with it, especially something that big. I mean, he has 6 breaking rooms. What is this guy's internet and bill going to be? You aren't charged this in a business. They freaking tax. It's not the same as just calling, oh, I'm just going to get somebody home internet for $60 a month, $100 a month. No, to business, they freaking charge you way more. So just on these expenses, his rent, his payroll tax, $84,000 a month. So when he said he bought 415,000 in cards in 3 weeks, which is very impressive, first of all, that he was able to do that. Even guys, if he's, let's say somehow, some way, he sold all those cards, all of them, in a month, which would be a freaking miracle and amazing. That would only be like 80 grand if he made a 20% margin, which I think is fairly reasonable to expect, and maybe way more, maybe giving them way more credit than they're due. Spend 415,000 on cards and somehow make 20% on that in a month. First of all, you should get a standing ovation, but that'd still only be 80 grand. It literally barely cover your nut that you have to come up with every month to keep the shop open. Normal sell-through rate, this is on eBay. I got these from Terapeak on eBay. Sell-through rate percentage trading card singles, 2.95%. So you can see how rare it would be to actually sell through 100% of your cards. Virtually impossible, certainly on eBay. But this 3% might be a little low. I think other shops and other people maybe mid to high single digits. I'd love to talk to a shop owner about that. In fact, if you currently are running a shop, and I actually don't care if you agree with, I don't care if you, I just would love to hear your perspective. I cannot believe this man is opening a 14, unless I'm wrong, said it's a 14,000 square feet. I cannot believe that. If it was 1,400 square feet, I'd be like, how do I invest? How this is going to be a success. Easy slam dunk success. Even if he was paying $4, $5, $6 a square foot. 1,400 at $6 a square foot would still be less than $10,000. It'd be like $400 in rent. It'd be like 1/5 what he's paying in rent. And that would be a big store. 1,500 square foot store with, if you don't have a lot of storage, that's actually still a pretty big sports card store. And because you have such a big card store, you have to have a lot of employees there. If you had a 1,500 square foot store, maybe Geoff and the two founders could be there a lot of the time and you wouldn't need anybody else. Maybe you need one other person. Get a little crowded if you had maybe more than 4 or 5 people there. You have 14,000 square feet. Geoff, if you're watching, you know what your store is going to turn into? This is going to be a daddy daycare. Moms are going to get free childcare out of you. They're going to come around, sniff around the shop, be like, oh, this place is huge. Oh, it's well lit. Oh, it's family friendly. Moms are just going to drop their kids off with no money or $5, and these kids are going to be in their store. And then you and your staff are going to have to deal with these people who are not spending a lot of money. It's going to be free daycare for the people of Marietta, Georgia. Cumberland, Georgia. I don't get it. Maybe people in the chat can help me out. Maybe some current card store owners who actually are having to live this life and pay these bills. And maybe you have maybe not something similar. I don't know who has a 14,000 square foot. I don't even think Burbank Sports Cards is 14,000 square feet. I don't get going from 0 to 100. I don't know why he didn't open a 2,000 square foot store and keep it open for a year or two and then grow into 14,000 square feet. I managed a 6,000 square foot skate shop that had a half pipe in the middle of the store that you could come in and skate. That's how big 6,000 square feet is, let alone 14,000 square feet. Ooh, I am stunned.
I have an idea of how he could sustain it, but I don't want to give him free business ideas.
I think we should. We need this guy around because this is going to be content for days. This shop and his breakers and all the things that go on in here is going to be, he's going to have 24-hour selling. I mean, this is Sports Card Radio gold right here. What do you got? What do you got for Geoff? Hit him with his best idea, right? Best business idea.
Yeah, you just get a consignment. So you have all the people, you rent out consignment shelves to whoever, and then you have your customer base fill your shop with stuff, and then you rent. You charge like a monthly fee for the shelf or case, and you don't really have to worry about inventory at that point.
Essentially sublease out your store, which I think I'd be shocked if after a year or a year and a half he's gonna have to do that. 14,000 square feet is insanity. And again, I'm speaking with a little bit of ignorance out here. If this shop was open in Arizona or Nevada or California or even Omaha, Nebraska, or some of these places where I've been, even South Carolina, I've spent a lot of time in. I was just in Florida. I have not spent a lot of time in Atlanta. Times are good. Things are good. This is probably kind of a nice little suburb, nice neighborhoods, nice families, nice houses. And he's also the freeways interchange right here, kind of a main kind of road. And obviously the Atlanta Braves Stadium, it is pinned right there. The Atlanta Braves Stadium right there, I believe Geoff is right over here where the kind of near this Hobby Lobby, kind of under the freeway, the 285 freeway. Could be wrong there, but I think that's where the shop is. So things could work. I was reading a thing that 215,000 people live within 5 miles of this particular shopping center right here, because you can download this little PDF thing that comes up in a 5-mile radius. People, 215,000 people.
Like his business has to be carried by his online side, because I doubt there's enough money in that general area to sustain that type of store. And
well, that's a great point, Tim. The main point I wanted to make is Geoff is literally going to have to become one of the biggest sellers of sports cards, period.
like
right away.
Burbank size, and he
Right.
didn't scale up to like Burbank's operations logistically. He's just kind of like diving right in, and it's not structured well. It's not, you can tell it's not well organized right from the get-go. So I don't know.
He's going to have to become one of the biggest sellers and or breakers of sports cards on the internet. And he does, I guess he does have a theoretical head start because of the sports card investor brand. And, you know, hey, we're here talking about him. We wouldn't be talking about some rando that just is trying this. We'd be like, dude, you're you know, we'd be calling him probably more psycho.
Right.
This is, yeah, to just go from not 0 to 60. Geoff went from like 0 to 100, trying to literally open one of the biggest stores in the country. He's going to have to become one of the biggest sellers of sports cards on the internet to crack this nut every month. I think I probably I tried to undersell his expenses. I didn't include a ton of other things. And I think I undersold on the employees, probably what they're making. Again, not every employee is going to make the same. But I just tried to, you know, give people a rough idea.
It's a general idea.
Well, he's over here saying, hey, we're going to show people how this is done and blah, blah, blah. Well, Geoff, why don't you really show people how it's done? And what are the monthly nut they're going to have to come up with just to keep this business open, let alone the inventory and the amount of inventory you're going to have to buy and sell through.
Yeah.
He's going to have to sell through practically $500,000 in singles and or boxes just to hit his monthly nut. He would have to average, you know, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in sales almost every day, even during the winter, even the Braves are shitty and nobody wants to go to their games anymore. If he keeps, you know, if he does have a long-term horizon, my guess is a lot of times these guys lock you into, look at the term of this lease, 5 to 10 year lease terms. So they lock you in for a long time. And with the amount of money that he spent kind of building this out, I doubt he wants to leave anytime soon. I can't believe that this is happening. I mean, I'm excited about it because I think some very interesting things are going to happen, one way or the other. And the fact that he's trying to keep this thing open 24 hours a day and live sell essentially 24 hours a day, I think it's.
I bet you he goes after Golden, you know, like auction houses. He's gonna start doing, like, he's gonna turn into like a digital QVC for cards, just to try and maintain a revenue.
I mean, Golden could tell how hard it is to execute on that. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
This is a man going from 0 to 100. Hey, it's one thing to have a YouTube channel, build an app that you price cards on, spend $2 million of PPP money on some sports cards. That's one thing. Starting a business where your monthly nut is approaching and or is 6 figures a month. I mean, that could go sideways really quick. Really, really quick. You're going to have like Geoff and his son, just like, I don't know why Geoff didn't build a card shop that him and his son could roll up there on the weekend and sit there and talk to people, and it'd be packed. The place would be freaking packed.
Like 3,000 square feet is like a huge amount of
huge
card shop, and like perfect.
And he'd crush it. He would crush it. I don't get the 14,000 square feet unless he got free rent for like 2 years. I don't get. He literally they would have to give him like free rent or something for like at least 12 months for him to even think about it, which would be a savings of about $500,000. Say quoted at my pricing, $3 a square feet. I think he's paying more, closer to $4 and or more.
By the way, the inside is also not built out, so you have to hire contractors, get architects to put the floor plan, like legally submit it to the county, like lots of different things. It's building out like his idea there even is like a lot of money.
Massive. He says he spent $3 million. I mean, yeah, how much was on the build out? I mean, this is fun to watch. I mean, this is. I guess I'd only partially thought about his expenses a little bit. And then when I saw that he spent 415 on cards, I was like, well, if you made 20% margin on that, that'd be like 80 grand. And then I was thinking to myself, would that even cover his bills? Like, I don't even think even if he sold every single one of these cards in a month, it wouldn't even cover his bills at a 20% margin. I don't know how much margin people making on cards these days, but 20% actually sounds pretty good. And I hope that he's factored in that he's actually going to have a less than a 20% margin on a lot of his stuff. It could probably be single digits. So thus, again, why go so big? But I don't even know. I don't even know what to say because I'm so.
Like, he could absolutely crush with a 3,000 square foot, just him and his son. Like,
how do I invest? Right. Geoff, let's make up. Let's shake hands and let's fucking do a business deal.
Yeah, I believe more in Geoff and Jeff's son and Geoff more than Card Collector 2 and stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's how well that'd be another fun thing is like, how well are these shops really doing? Are they subsidized by mommy and daddy? Or are they really doing well? Are these really making money? Even in this down kind of time, down economy, down kind of market for cards. It's also very difficult to get product. Geoff said in this video, I encourage actually people to watch this, talks about how difficult it is to been able to get wax and accounts at distributors, and Panini has just basically blown them off. It hasn't talked to him yet. Fanatics will probably throw these guys a bone, but you're going to need tons of wax to sell. Again, if you had a 1,500 square foot store, you actually wouldn't. You wouldn't need that much. But when your monthly nut is this is wild. If I wasn't afraid that I'd get served, I'd fly into Atlanta and go visit this thing because I'm like, I got to see this thing with my own eyes, or somebody's got to take really good video of this shop. Like, where are all the like, are you going to have birthday parties every day that you're charging $1,000 a day for? It's going to have to be a hell of a lot more revenue streams than selling cards.
Oh yeah, Dave and Adams is a good comparison because they have a pretty huge shop.
Like, I wonder how big their shop is. Our massive retail store, over 40,000 square feet, is located in Williams. This is a good example, but this is a guy who's been in business for a long time and greased the wheels of the Good Old Boy Network. This is a guy.
This is an OG.
I mean, straight OG. I mean, he's at the Super Bowl parties with Richard McWilliam, who used to own Upper Deck. I mean, this is the great smoozer. 46,000 square foot superstore.
They have their own. They're their own like sub distributor basically, because distribution will dump a lot of boxes to DAC at like cheaper than wholesale. You know what I'm saying? Discounted wholesale, and then they just store it and sell it off on their website.
And it isn't also a straight. He also sells a lot of clothing and fan apparel and some of the other accounts. Yeah. So it's not totally sports cards, but
yeah.
This is also in the middle of, looking at the pictures. This is not next to the Buffalo Bills stadium or the new Yankee stadium or whatever. This is kind of almost like, looks like probably more industrial. So the rent on 46,000 square feet is probably not going to be $4 a square foot. I guarantee that. I couldn't guarantee it, but I'd be shocked if, looking at these pictures, we're probably talking more. I don't know. I don't want to guess, but less than $4 is my guess. And you can see they have these other stores. But DA Cardworld is somebody who has been around. I mean, is literally a part of the Good Old Boy Network. I mean, is like on the Mount Rushmore of the Good Old Boy Network.
Yeah.
So him having these shops, I mean, this surprises me. This guy's been getting hooked up for decades. I mean, on every single closeout deal. I mean, this guy, yeah. And he's been, greasing the wheels of the sports card elite for wisely and smartly for many, literally decades. I mean, he's been at the Super Bowl parties when Richard McWilliam would fly his private jet in and then leave at halftime because his wife pissed him off. That is a great story. Richard, whatever the Detroit Super Bowl was, whenever the Super Bowl was in Detroit, 2006. So the word on the street was that so Richard McWilliam flies private jet. Well, Richard McWilliam, who owned Upper Deck, also owned a private jet company. Can't remember what it was called. Jet Setters or whatever. So almost every Super Bowl, and Upper Deck was an NFL licensee or whatever at the time, he would fly him and a bunch of employees out to the Super Bowl in a private jet. So think about that. You're in LA and you're working away in Carlsbad, California, and then the owner says, we're going to go to the Super Bowl, January, February, whenever this was. We're going to go to the Super Bowl in Detroit. That's a long ass flight on a PJ. That's actually fun as hell. Actually, that's like, sign me up for that. Right. So Richard McWilliam puts a bunch of people in the PJ. They go out to the Detroit Super Bowl in 2006 and they have a suite. You're not only fucking at the game, but you're in a freaking luxury suite at the game. But then Richard McWilliam's wife somehow pissed off Richard McWilliam and he rounded up everybody and they left at halftime of the game. So just imagine that story. So Richard McWilliam unfortunately passed away in 2013, so he's not around to sue me for that, but that's a funny story that I've heard through the grapevine, and you could probably guess who perhaps told me that story by who we're talking about. But that, I mean, look, to bring this back to Geoff, I mean, think about it. For $84,000, you could probably get a PJ and fly to the Super Bowl and sit in a suite. So this dude's going to be laying that out every month to keep this card store open. I wish I knew Georgia a little better to know if this was a smart move or not long term. I don't see how this. I think this is a train wreck waiting to happen, but he might actually have a good year or two because most businesses do have kind of a honeymoon period. And but I eventually think this becomes like a daycare for the area, a free daycare for the area where kids get dropped off that have no money and they come around, running around, terrorizing the store, probably stealing stuff, using your bathroom, all kinds of stuff. If a card shop owner out there who's currently running a business, if you guys are out there and you want to talk about kind of the general expenses of running a card store, I don't care how big or small it is. I literally do not care. I'd just be curious to know what approximately is your monthly nut that you have to come up with
for it to make sense.
Right. Compared to the square footage, if you have a 500 square foot store, what is it? And it all depends kind of your location and all that kind of stuff. And I don't care about your inventory. I don't care about what you're buying. I just want to know, what are your bills? Even if you have an employee or not, it's going to take, God damn it, 14,000 square foot. This boy is going to be hiring every day. So look, we're going to have a lot of time to talk about Mr. Wilson and his card. He's going to have to become one of the biggest sellers on eBay, on whatnot, somewhere, everywhere. I mean, I'll try to dig them up. Terapeak, which is kind of like a card ladder. It used to be $30 a month, but then eBay bought it. And then if you're like if you sign up for a basic store subscription, you get all this Terapeak data. It used to break out the top sellers. And somewhere I have screenshots of the top sports card sellers by month. And it's like, it's who you expected. PWCC, Probstein, Burbank. Check out my cards. Ironically, does sell a lot of cards through eBay. And like Greg Morris cards, a couple other like big sellers. PC Sports Cards, DC Sports 87. But you could actually see how many cards they sold and the dollar amount. They used to basically just kind of show you these guys' business, but I'll try to dig those up. I don't think they do that anymore. Maybe there's a service that does, or the API somehow does it. I don't know if it's somewhere on Market Movers.
Vintage Sports Shack said he's doing a video Monday called "Don't Be Stupid." Why Jeff Wilson's shop will work.
I mean, I'll be curious to watch it because I'm just thinking about it from if it was 1,400 square feet, I'd be all in. I'd be all in.
Same. I'd want to invest.
Right. Now, maybe he's getting some kind of sweetheart deal where he signed a 5-year lease and he gets the first year free and he gets an option on the 6th year or something. That happens quite a bit, especially with spaces that haven't been rented in a while, or just to incentivize you to kind of come in there. There's a number of different ways he could have made that work. I don't know. I hope that he gets into it. I think it's admirable that he is talking, this much about it. But just looking around at the other neighboring businesses, $4 a square foot. I mean, $42,000. I mean, this dude could have opened 8 card shops if he wanted to spend $84,000 a month. So I like where his head was at. I like where Jeff's head was at. Stop buying money on fucking stupid sports cards, overpriced sports cards. That you're just kind of the sucker when you're buying, like those Desmond Ritters that he traded for. Jeff, you're just kind of the sucker. So open a business that potentially has multiple revenue streams. And if it was small enough, you could just market the hell out of that on your own channel, 1,500 square feet. You and your son could sit there half the time and run it yourselves.
You think Fanatics subsidizing?
No. I don't think, I think people who think these guys get special treatment, that happened more at the distributor level. The Southern Hobby, each state, GTS, the distributors would kind of give you the homie hookups.
Yeah.
I think the manufacturers, it's like, well, show me how much product you can push through, first before we hook you up. He may not be able to move that much wax, or he may be able to only move certain type of wax, not everything. Not like a group breaker who can just churn through almost anything. Now he is going to have break rooms in here. He's going to have 6 break rooms set up. So perhaps he's either going to have to become one of the largest single card sellers in the world, or he's going to have to become one of the largest group breakers. I've been to Mojo Break. They're headquartered in San Jose, probably about an hour from me. I saw that. I went to this probably 10 years ago. I went, maybe longer than that. I went to their office in San Jose, and they were in an office that was probably literally like 300 square feet. And then they grew from there. And I think the last time I saw them, they had a little card shop in front and about 5,000 square feet in the back. So they probably had about 6,000 square feet total. So Jeff's going to have to get to that scale, a Leighton Sports Card scale, Mojo Break scale, Backyard Break scale.
He got some other good ideas that he can utilize that space for to make money.
What you got? He needs it. He needs the help. We need to help our boy Jeff.
Add a strip club to the back.
Boom.
And then also,
now we talking
slot machines or coin pushers.
There we go. He could just run some illegal gambling. Well, he is going to be open 24 hours, so some seedy things are going to happen here. I mean, you guys could use your imaginations here. So keep the kids away. Hopefully the kids, are out by 8 or 10. And then maybe he can run some hustles. You know who he could talk to? He could talk to all our, he could talk to Justin Scamble. He could talk to Going Twice, talk to Backyard. He's going to have to become the biggest group breaker and or biggest sports card seller seemingly overnight. And it's one thing to start a YouTube channel and get people to watch you. It's another thing to get them to take out your wallet and pay for things. And we saw Justin Scamble saw that on a kind of a smaller scale. He tried to sell repack products and he fell flat on his face. So Geoff's kind of stepping into kind of a whole new arena that
well, you know what would actually make sense is if he put in like an indoor basketball court, like 2 courts.
There we go.
You could rent them out to like, you could start a local club for like basketball or whatever, or just like kids sports, and then just you'll always have like customers rolling through your facility to even just iShop or impulse buy.
I could see a scenario where kids' birthday parties, because you could really sell a package. You could sell multiple packages. You could have tiers to that. And then that's revenue coming in where you don't have to sell any sports cards, and good marketing for your business. One thing I didn't add over here on the expenses is advertising. Like, he's going to have to get people to know where he's at. A lot of people in Atlanta, they don't watch him on YouTube, but they probably would shop at his store if they knew where it was at. So he's going to have to advertise the hell out of the store in multiple different ways. And God, I can't wait to watch this.
You should put in a pickleball bar. That'd make a ton of money.
I mean, yeah, if he could get a liquor license, a liquor license or strip club or something, gambling. I guess he already is. I guess in theory, he's opening kind of a poor man's casino anyways, with the sports cards and the breaking and
a pickle brew card shop.
I think it'll be interesting if he becomes one of the biggest sports card group breakers. I mean, there's going to be a mistake. There's going to be dip in a pack. There's going to be accusation that he's getting loaded stuff. So this is content gold for Sports Card Radio. If you can't tell how eagerly I'm excited for this thing to open up, 14,000 square foot of fun for us. And we're going to get 14,000 hours of content out of that. So
what it's going to look like is NBA arenas when WNBA players play.
This is at an appropriate price. I thought I was going to be able to get the steal of the century there. $4,200. It's in a PSA 1.5 condition, autograph 9. I'm not a huge fan of the blue Sharpie, but whatever. I mean, you take what you can get. These like if the card's like a 4. I mean, gosh, these can sell upwards of $10,000. 1960, so it's like a 9th year Mickey Mantle card. 1951 Bowman was his rookie year. 1952 Topps, famously more popular. Kimmy K. I don't know. I just like buying stuff that's not sports because
I like
it just has such a wider audience. And then I love buying stuff like this because this is going to be a conversation piece for probably the rest of my life, where I'm going to get I'm going to be like, yeah, that hung, Wolfgang Puck, that hung in his restaurant. And yeah, it's signed by Andy Warhol. And girls are just going to be like, oh my God. Whereas if I showed them something of Kobe, it'd be kind of cool. But they're not going to know who Mickey Mantle is. Apologies to Evan Longoria if you're watching, but this collection of Evan Longoria cards isn't going to get me any females. So this Kobe is pretty cool. It's just, in my opinion, I've bought cheaper Kobe Bryant autographs. I'd rather have a card at that price. Victor Wembanyama.
Chat saying Joe Burrow's wrist is busted.
Oh no, that's why Colin didn't call in tonight, because Joe Burrow's hurt. That's Bengals have been hot and cold this year, so certainly been interesting to watch. But why don't we take it to the chat and see what you guys have to say. Hopefully I'm sure you guys always have some fun stuff to say. Rick Galps says, hey Ryan, has Betsy catfished you yet? Gosh dang, I wish I could just get a phone call from Betsy Higgins. Man, girl, hit your boy up. Actually, I like going to my article.
Taylor Swift cards.
Oh, Taylor Swift cards and Travis Kelce cards are on fire lately. Those are some of the ones that are going at Travis Kelce, especially. His stuff is, I mean, he's obviously a really good player, but boy, yeah. I mean, it shows you what dating a kind of a pop culture icon can do to your sports cards. I mean, Travis Kelsey stuff is just, I mean,
skyrocketed like 1,000% at least.
I mean, yeah, because he was in that horrible draft class of 2013, I believe, if I'm not speaking out of school here. 2013. Yeah, this was like a horror. Geno Smith was in that draft class. Matt Barkley, who I just think signed with the Giants. But look at this card, 1/1, Travis Kelsey, $23,000. This ended in February of 2022. So what is that card worth today? You know, maybe T Swift would bid on that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, his stuff has. Here's an interesting card. Him and the brother. Dual Nike logo, $4,300. Even that's a very strong price. And a lot of these prices are pre-T Swizzle. So if you got any Travis Kelsey cards laying around, guys, I would strongly advise busting those out before she dumps his ass and moves on to the next golden boy. $4,200 for a black finite 1/1, 2022. So a 10th year Travis Kelsey card, 1/1, $4,000. This might have sold after he started dating her. This is 9/14. So, man, life's good for Mr. Kelsey. But as we've seen, sometimes the good times, they run out. They certainly ran out for Mr. and Mrs. Higgins over at PWCC. So long answer short, Rick, I have not heard from Betsy. Whereas Wolfie says, will vintage football cards of the greats be on par with baseball and baseball greats in value? Thanks in advance. I would say no, just because of the history and legacy of baseball. I mean, they're called baseball cards. I just think now maybe, okay, maybe you zoom out 40, 50 years and the popularity of the NFL continues on the trajectory that it is, and you have a new wave of collectors come in who are younger than even me, who see football cards differently. But it's been my experience that sans a couple people going crazy over, a couple quarterbacks and people going crazy over Luka, Trey, Ja, and Zion. At the end of the day, the bread and butter is the Mickey Mantles, the Willie Mays, the Babe Ruth, Ernie Banks. Just got an Ernie Banks autograph in the mail today. I think long-term vintage baseball cards, and not even just vintage, but baseball cards in general, are just a better bet than football. Short-term flipping, football, quarterbacks. Long-term, I don't know how many football guys 63 years after their playing days are going to be worth $4,200 on a 9th year card autographed. Baseball, in my opinion, is still king, but short-term flipping, football, basketball. Patches O'Hulian says if Orange Mountain buys SCR, make sure Tim gets 10%. Hey, if Tim brokers the deal, trust me, guys, we going straight to the beach. We going straight to we ain't going straight to the beach. We going straight to freaking Old Town or Tempe, guys. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm retiring. Hobby News Daily. Remind me, last year, Run Good Life had to make an apology to David Adams, or it was Steel City. So I think Run Good Life, our boy, who used to work out Check On My Cards and who I met at the National a long time ago when he was still working at Check On My Cards. Now he runs a popular YouTube channel and does a lot of breaks. So I think he sounded off on Steel City, and then these fucking idiots at Steel City. How dare you guys fucking threaten somebody? I'd like to see you fucking try that to me and watch fucking the series of videos I make about you motherfuckers. I don't like that. I don't like when these good old boy companies come after guys at all. That shit pisses me the fuck off, as you can see. So, yeah. And yeah, they kind of bullied Run Good Life to apologize to them. So, Steel City, send me an email. Watch what the F happens. Why did Run Good Life have to make an apology video? Was he threatening the company with a video? He basically got a bunch of silver packs and was basically saying that maybe the packs were weighed, I believe, or that the packs were rigged, which are very easy to do. The national silver packs are super, like you don't even have to weigh them. You can just look at them and tell which ones have thick cards, or sometimes the thin packs are the ones you want. You don't want the little one color jerseys. You actually want the thin ones that have the autographs. I mean, they are like so easy to rig and tell what's what. So he bought a bunch of either national packs or whatever, silver packs, and he opened a bunch of them, and he thought that maybe some hanky panky was going on. And I think he should be allowed to do that. Ziggy No says, Ziggy No, the hobby forgets, Ziggy No doesn't. Run Good Life, Run Good Life. I'm signing your name, Run Good Life. B Car says, weird because Topps has told me for 6 months now new accounts are on hold and I have had a shop for 5 years. Hey, you B Car watches. I think Geoff said that he was able to sign up. And Panini was giving him the cold shoulder. So yeah, it wouldn't shock me if Geoff jumped the line and got the good old boy treatment that I'm sure he's hoping for. Yeah, these companies don't just hand out direct accounts, don't just hand out the boxes, don't just hand out homie hookup pricing. Those days are over. Maybe not for everybody, maybe DA Card World and Adam Martin, because the dudes, on the Mount Rushmore of good old boys can pull it off. But B-Car, definitely watch this video, and then sounds like you have a shop if you ever want to come on and talk about it and talk a little bit about the expenses. I mean, I had a shop, what was it? Fucking almost 20 years ago. But my expenses those are 20 years ago pricing. So I also didn't have any employees. So, I can speak to this a little bit, but I would much actually rather, I just threw this together in about 10 minutes, kind of off the top of my head and looking at what some other real estate was going for just down the street. But I would love to talk to anybody around the country who's in the process of running a sports card store and just learn a little bit about your business, because I think it's kind of fun, and it'd certainly be fun for me to learn a little bit about it. Peter, Geoff will be screaming Fleer on your local PBS channel soon. Yes, this guy's going to have to become, it's crazy the pivot he's going to have to make here in about a few months. He's going to have to become the biggest seller of sports cards and or one of the biggest group breakers seemingly overnight. Period. At these prices, at what he's trying to do, at the scale that he's trying to make this shop, he's going to have to become one of the biggest sellers or biggest group breakers overnight. And that's going to be amazing to watch, guys. This is, wow. Stay tuned to Sports Card Radio. You guys know we're going to be talking about it. So yeah, Vintage Sports Crack, who I know has a shop. Don't be stupid. Why Geoff Wilson's shop will work. I definitely want to watch that, because like I said, I haven't ran a shop in fucking 20 years. So I definitely want to hear from people who are doing it now, people who maybe have a different perspective than I do. And I'd love to hear from Geoff. Maybe these numbers are totally off. Maybe he's got things dialed in way, way less than what I'm projecting. Maybe I way overshot this. Very possible. Especially if he got some kind of homie hookup on the rent because he built out the store and they were priced that in. I don't know. It used to be an old Pier 1 Imports. So maybe, I don't know. I doubt Pier 1 Imports was getting free rent. So I'm curious. but I'll definitely be watching. Vintage Sports Shack makes great content on YouTube, great videos, very fun to watch. And he dances at the end too. So he dances better than me. So you want to watch him. Eric Bailey says PWCC has 10 million eBay listing. No way Geoff gets to that level. It would take many, many years if it ever happens. Amen. Amen. I will try to dig up. I should have went harder at it. I mean, Terapeak used to, when it was a separate company than eBay, you used to be able to just plug a seller in and it would spit out all his stats, his sell-through rate, how much he sold per month, active listing. I mean, it would give you all and then it would give you top 10 in any category. And yeah, it's PWCC, Probstein, DC, ComC, Burbank, Greg Morris, fucking PC Sports Cards, and then the names the names that have tens of thousands, if not millions of listings. And that takes a long time, as Eric Bailey says, to build up. I mean, that is many, many years of grinding of our girl Betsy over here sacrificing. Betsy, I guarantee if you were with me, boy, girl, you wouldn't have had to sacrifice a dang thing. Good point there by Eric Bailey. Bob Bozel says, I am building a deodorant. That is a very, you know what? I'm not even going to say that's a joke because that's actually, this is a great idea. This is one of the best business ideas I've actually heard in a long time. Bob Boozle coming in with, I'm building a deodorant store next to Geoff's shop. I am going to be rich. Bob, sportscardshow@gmail.com. Please email me. How the heck do I get, dude, how do I get to be an investor in this business? I mean, I need in. I need in on this. I need in on this deodorant store next to Geoff's shop. Nick Rinaldi comes back with the $2, $41,999 for placements on Sports Card Radio's website per month. Sold. Yeah, Geoff, if you need to advertise your sports card shop, feel free to reach out. And who were we talking about earlier? We were talking about Kevin Burge. He wanted to have the post taken down off Sports Card Radio. I mean, for $999, I actually would take it down. So, since we are late in the show, and since you were inquiring, like, would you take it down? Yes, I would take it down for $999. So there you go. And Geoff, if you want to advertise on Sports Card Radio for $41,999, sold. David Kahana. Shout out to Scott Skinger at Vintage Card Investor. Let's give him a shout out. Oh, I bet he meant the eBay store. $2,800 items sold. 100% feedback like that. We've got a big old Vetchkin, the cup card right there, baby. Hunter Rex. Hello. Woo. Those are some big cards. Let's check out his Instagram. Kobe. Jackie Robinson. Oh, this is one of the cards that was involved in the stolen property of Enrico. And it looks like they worked something out. Here's our boy Enrico, who's been collecting cards for a long time. And David Kahana's in there fighting a good fight. And we appreciate you. Jordan McLeod, 2023 Heisman winner. So there you go. Backdoor Brad wipes back to front. Ooh, that sounds bad. But I'm curious who Jordan. You could tell my college football knowledge is really weak right now. 2023 Heisman. So we'll see. James Madison, it looks like. David Kahana says to Scott Skinger, vintage card investor, thanks for sending those cards to Enrico. So it looks like they worked something out, and I'm very happy to see that. Always love to see resolutions come in the sports card world. Vintage card investor, looks like an honest, straightforward guy, so shout out to you. And looks like you got some nice, come on. I'm seeing some nice stuff here. Our boy Hank Aaron, who I met in Atlanta, Georgia, and could not have been nicer, and had some amazing stories to tell about his playing days. And boy, was he bitter about the money the players were making today. I mean, he probably brought that up about a half dozen times, how much money the players were making today compared to what he made back in his day. So I have some amazing pictures of Hank Aaron. I have amazing pictures with Hank Aaron. And that was a cool night. And as he actually was walking out of the venue, he kind of walked by us, and we got to say deuces to Hank Aaron, who pulled up in a white 7 Series BMW, which is baller as hell. So it had 10 interior. Shit was hard as fuck. So Hank, we miss you, brother. We love you. And that was a fun night. What else we got in the chat? Hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. We've got, I think, a close football game. So again, that's why we haven't seen Bengals fan Colin in the house tonight. A couple minutes left on these auctions. I am not going to win that Evan Longoria. Dang it, I'm not going to win that Mickey Mantle. We got outbid on Kim K. We're pulling the trigger on Kim K. I think that's worth at least $1,000 someday. Our Eddie Vedder, our imaginary Eddie Vedder Kobe jersey is at 16. I had some bids on some other stuff, but I believe the next auction is actually on Friday, because next Thursday is Thanksgiving. So, which means probably next Thursday we won't have a show, but you probably will want to join us for a special Black Friday edition of the Sports Card Radio program, where we probably try to blow off some money on Black Friday. Oh my God, look at this picture, guys. We not only have Mr. Shaquille, Mr. Kobe, we got our boy Nick Van Exel in here. We got our boy Eddie Jones in this MFer. We got our boy Chick Hearn. Oh my God, this ends next week. So you know we're going to be involved in this one, because we got Shaq, Kobe, Eddie, Nikki on there. Man, we loving life. We loving the Lakers. They lost last night, but hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. Stop bidding on this Kim Kardashian. I'm trying to win it. It's far cheaper than trying to get her phone number or trying to get in front of her somehow, some way. But somehow, some way, guys, we will be back next week. Don't do anything stupid. Don't ask anybody's autograph. Don't ask for anybody's autograph that's younger than you, unless they're a member of Pearl Jam. Shohei Ohtani, if you're listening to this, please sign with the San Francisco Giants. Forget all these other teams. You know that's what you want to do.
What's going on with that PP?
And until then,
You done a lot of talking,
we
not
will
a
see you
lot to
guys
see.
next week.
Up in the millions like 2.3, but Geoff
Right
got
here on
it all,
Sports
getting
Radio.
off scot-free. Try to talk tips like we talking about stock, but you're talking about men printed on called stock. When you open your mouth, I take it with a grain of salt, cause the market's down and you're a clown, it's all your fault. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. Did you dip, Geoff? I think you dipped, Geoff. What you talking about? I don't think you dipped yet. Willie's doing shady shit like the GOBs, like his whole failed thing with them NFTs, taking money from the people to pay. Most of them are broke, but that's okay. He's getting money. Even better, tax-free. Loving all the stimulus from PPP. You ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit. Geoff Wilson, Geoff Wilson. You ruin the hobby I love with your bullshit.
Peace.